Hello everyone, this is Bilal Khan and you are watching my YouTube channel, The Safety and Compliance Center. I'm here to make learning HSC simple, practical and exciting. So let's work together to unlock your potential and build a successful career in health, safety and environment. In this video, we will cover the Saudi Aramco minimum site safety requirement for working inside a confined space. Confined spaces poses a unique risk and following the confined space entry procedures means that it is the difference between the life and death. So let's dive into the essential steps to keep you safe and compliant. In any kind of confined space work in a Saudi Aramco operated facility or at the project site where hydrocarbons are present, or you must comply with the company's confined space entry procedure or the GI 2.100, the work permit system of Aramco. So entry to these areas requires a valid confined space entry permit. Additional permits like hot work or cold work may also be necessary depending upon the task or activities carried out inside the confined space. The confined space entry permit must be issued to a certified work permit receiver. The contractor led project mean where the facilities where the hydrocarbons are not introduced. So an equivalent work permit system should be approved by the Saudi Aramco proponent organization. Every confined space entry must have a designated confined space entry supervisor, and the standby man should be assigned at each entry point to the confined space. The standby man must maintain constant communication with the personnel working inside the confined space using two-way radio communication or other communication methods. 30 pound of the fire extinguisher must be placed near to the confined space entry point, as well as the carbon dioxide extinguishers are not permitted inside the confined space. Confined space entry checklist must be used, and all personnel involved in the confined space entry work shall be mentally, medically, and physically fit for that work. Designated entry and exit points must remain unobstructed. No hoses, cables, or equipment should block these paths while someone is inside the confined space. Permits, barricades, and bi-language warning signs must be posted around the confined space to alert the personnel and prevent the unauthorized entry to the confined space. Additional barrier must be used where the fall risk exists near to the confined space. Before entering, all chemical and physical hazards must be eliminated or controlled. This may involve lockout or tagout procedures, draining, purging, or washing the confined space. Mechanical ventilation is mandatory in areas where a hazardous atmosphere could form. Atmospheric gas testing must be performed according to the GI 2.709, which is the general instruction for the gas testing. All entrants and standby men personnel must wear the appropriate personal protective equipment at all the time. Only trained and authorized personnel may enter the confined space, and training verification must be available upon the request by the Saudi Aramco proponent organization. Everyone entering or exiting must sign in and sign out on a log sheet to be maintained by the standby men. Ignition sources must be eliminated or tightly controlled. If hot work is required, a valid hot work permit must be obtained by the Saudi Aramco work permit issuer. Electrical equipment must meet the classification standards, and all devices used inside a confined space shall be explosion proof or intrinsically safe for that kind of confined space. GFCIs must be used with all power tools, and lighting should be on a separate circuit. Compressed gas cylinders must never be placed inside the confined spaces. Likewise, internal combustion engines must be kept outside the confined space and downwind to prevent the exhaust fumes from entering into the confined space. Power cords or power cables must be protected from the sharp edges and from the entry points to avoid the damage to these cables. For vertical confined space entries, like inside the tanks and vessels, personnel must wear the full body harness. If there is a risk of fall over 1.8 meter, Appropriate fall protection must be used. Brakes should be provided when physical strain or heat exposure is a factor. Trained rescue team and proper equipment must be available on sites at all the time. Confined spaces with the potential of radioactive contamination, which is known as NOM, require additional controls. These include the mechanical ventilation for at least 4 hours prior to entry into the confined space, and mandatory contamination survey for the personnel and the tools used inside the confined space. In hydroblasting activity, low point drains must stay open to prevent water contamination. If the confined space work is completed, barricade the entry point, post no entry sign. After the work is completed, the confined space must be inspected and cleared. All tools and equipment must be removed before the area is returned to service, and the work permit must be officially closed by the work permit receiver and the work permit issuer. Well, to conclude, the confined space entry requirement, it requires strict safety measures. Always follow the work permit system, perform the gas test, eliminate hazards, and use the right protective equipment. Everyone involved in the confined space entry work, from supervisor to the interns, they play a key role in ensuring the safety. By sticking to these safety guidelines, we can prevent accidents and ensure everyone goes home safely. So stay alert, stay safe, and always prioritize safety in every confined space entry job. Thank you for watching this video from the Safety and Compliance Center. Drop your question to the comment section and we'll get back to you shortly. This is your channel. Like it, subscribe it for more safety contents. Stay safe, stay blessed, and goodbye.